Good evening. The November 20th, 2018 meeting of the Marion County School Board is called to order. I would like to ask members of the audience to please remove their hats if you're wearing any. For the courtesy of those listening to the meeting, I am requesting everyone in the audience please turn off your electronic devices or put them on vibrate. Later in the meeting, up to 30 minutes will be provided for individuals to address the board on matters concerning the operation of the Marion County school system or the school board only. Presentations to the board are limited to 5 minutes and are televised. If you wish to address the board regarding a regular agenda item or matters on which board customarily takes action, you must first complete a peach form located on the table in the hallway. If you wish to address the board regarding a public hearing or a student discipline matter, please complete a lime green form. These forms must be fully completed and received by the board secretary no later than 5:40 p.m. The procedures applicable for each are on a separate sheet. Madam Secretary, please call roll.
Mrs. Nancy Stacy, District 1.
Here.
Mrs. Beth McCall, District 2.
Here.
Mr. Eric Cummings, District 3.
Present.
Ms. Nancy Throward, District 4.
Here.
Mrs. Kelly King, District 5.
Here.
Dr. Heidi Mayer, Superintendent.
Here.
Mr. Paul Gibbs, School Board Attorney.
Here.
Thank you. Mr. Kevin Christian, Director of TV and Media Production, Public Relations, please introduce the Ocala Police Department officers who will be providing the inspiration and leading us in the pledge this evening.
Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and I am thrilled to share the story of why these four young men, and I'll say that, young men are seated on our front row this evening. Let me take you back 2 weeks ago to Friday, November 9th. We had about 2,500, 3,000 students at the Marion County Veterans Park. We had a couple thousand residents there attending to see the ceremony that we as a school district put on that many of our students take part in. At about 10:15 that morning, Suzanne McGuire came up to me and said, "Kevin, we don't have a rifle corps for the 21-gun salute." I said, "Why?" We won't go into why, but there were plans made, but those plans didn't come through. I said, "Okay, let me make a phone call. Let me call Ocala Police Chief Greg Graham." I made one phone call at 10:15 that morning, and by 11:30, that's an hour and 15 minutes later, these four plus another were not only in uniform, they were on property, at attention, ready to play their role. And they did it with dignity and class and with thunderous effects from the shotguns they used. It was wonderful. And many of you who were there, you know that even though we warn people how loud the 21-gun salute is, it still startles us in a wonderful way, a scary way, but a wonderful way. So I would like to publicly recognize and thank Ocala Police Chief Greg Graham for coming through on one phone call. That's all it took. And I wasn't sure he would take my call. I said a prayer before, and he did, and it worked. So thank you, Chief Graham. I also want to thank Sergeant Eric Hooper, Officer Josh Freed, Officer Connor Tuck, and I know Connor, he's the short one. Joking. Officer Don Snow and Officer Leonard Griggs, who could not be with us this evening, but I would like for us to show our appreciation. They inspired me because they jumped into action. They didn't ask questions. They didn't ask why. They said, "We'll do it," and they were there, and they were Johnny on the spot and made it happen. So to the four of you, if you'll... Some of you and many of your colleagues serve as SROs in our schools, and we appreciate their service as well. And we appreciate your willingness to act when called upon. And you did so with great flair and fashion, and we appreciate it so much. The ceremony just isn't complete without a 21-gun salute. And you literally made that possible this year. So thank you. I'll ask you guys to take 2 steps forward, and let's lead these folks in our Pledge of Allegiance. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Any comments?
Well, I was there for the salute, and you guys did a wonderful job, and we are very appreciative. And please tell Chief Graham we say thank you also, please.
We know we can always count on our law enforcement. Thank you for your service.
Ditto. Ditto, ditto. Thank you.
And as a current law enforcement officer myself, I truly appreciate what you guys do, not only at that event, but all the time. So we thank you guys for your service. And please tell Chief Graham that we appreciate him answering the call so quickly to send some out. Thank you.
Maybe that's him calling now.
That may be. Oh, that's not him.
Okay, thank you.
Fabulous. Is this computer? With the exception of the agreement with the Committee for Children under item C 12.1, which has been placed under discussion, I recommend approval of the agenda for the November 20th, 2018 school board meeting with the materials in the board packet, those materials distributed to board members at the meeting, and the audio recording included as part of the official record of the meeting.
Thank you. May I have a motion on the superintendent's recommendation?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Mr. Cummings and seconded by Ms. McCall. All those in favor signify by voting aye, and those that oppose, like sign. And the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the October 18th, 2018 administrative briefing and work session?
So move. Second.
Moved by Ms. McCall, seconded by Ms. Thrower. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Those in favor signify by voting aye, and those that oppose, like sign. And the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the minutes for the October 23rd, 2018 school board meeting?
So move.
Second.
Moved by Ms. McCall, seconded by Mr. Cummings. Are there any additions or corrections to the minutes? Seeing none. Those in favor signify by voting aye, and those that oppose, like sign. And the motion passed 5-0. I will now ask the school board's attorney to explain the rules governing persons who wish to address the school board tonight.
We have none. Do you want me to read these, or?
No, we'll move forward. Thank you. Okay. May I have a motion to approve consent agenda items C 6.1-C 13.1 with the exception of item C 12.1, which has been placed on the regular agenda for discussion?
So moved.
Second.
Moved by Ms. Thrower, seconded by Mr. Cummings. Okay, those in favor signify by voting yes, and those that oppose, like sign. And the motion passed 5-0. May I have a motion to approve the agreement with Committee for Children?
So moved.
Can I have a second? We're not voting on it, you're, okay. Motion by Ms. McCall, seconded by Ms. Stacy. Ms. Thrower, I understand you pulled this item for discussion.
Yes, ma'am. And I just have a few notes to share to make sure that I remember everything this first night. I was obviously expecting a very routine school board meeting tonight, but then an agenda item jumped out at me, and I realized I knew quite a bit about it. It took time to familiarize myself with the contract, and I wanted to be sure before I spoke to it. This is an over $100,000 proposed expenditure, so it jumped out at me as budget is a very large part of my new responsibilities as your school board member. I am familiar with the Second Steps social skills curriculum, and I had a few questions. So I imagine that's why you're here. Okay. Right. I'll say that Dr. Lopez was amazing. We met for over an hour yesterday, in spite of him being sick as a dog. I already knew that the county had to have a mental health plan as part of Senate Bill 7026, I believe it is, which was a reaction to the school shootings in South Florida. All counties were mandated in May by our legislature to have a mental health plan submitted to the state in August. Is that correct so far? Okay. This timing, I believe, made it very difficult to get school staff together to work on the plan, as many are off contract in the summer. And plus, we had just hired a new ESE director who is over our special needs program and just didn't have the chance to get involved specifically. In spite of these constraints and timelines, Dr. Lopez, to his credit, along with his staff, did submit a comprehensive plan to the state, which was accepted, and I believe was also accepted by the then current school board. My understanding is some counties submitted only very basic plans or even no plans at all. So again, hats off to Dr. Lopez and his team. I also met yesterday with our CFO, Teresa Boston Ellis, who on very short notice said, come on down, and we were able to meet face to face. So the timing of this has been tough because we're going into our Thanksgiving break, but staff really stepped up and made time for me, and I'm so appreciative of that. I was very relieved to be informed by Ms. Boston Ellis that this over $100,000 expenditure does not have to be approved tonight. The funds can be moved forward, and then as a budget item, it can be amended. I'll feel much more comfortable approving this purchase once we have checked our closets and ensure that we really need to buy as many of these curriculum kits as this contract intends. Here's just some examples of social skills curriculum we already have that I was able to very quickly put my hands on. One of them is the Zones of Regulation, which has been a really well-used and good social skills program. I think it's one of the ones that you're considering buying more of. Here's another one that I used with great success at North Marion High School. It has a great family engagement component called Check and Connect. So I'm hopeful that maybe that one may be in consideration as well. And then the last one I have has been around for a while. It's called Champs, which is another great one. And again, these were just found by me on very short notice. So I felt like it was important to ensure that now that all the employees are on contract, that the key players, to include our ESE director, our new one, have a chance to discuss this contract amongst yourselves to determine if this Second Steps curriculum really is the best for what you're trying to accomplish. After all, it's typically our special needs students, sadly, including the Forest High School shooter, that have long-standing behavioral disabilities, and I know we all want to ensure that we're doing all we can to prevent another tragedy. So tonight, I'm proposing that we table spending over $100,000 on this specific social skills curriculum until staff has had a chance to account for all of the social skills curriculums that are already floating around out there, stored in office closets, stored in classrooms and other places, and then as a board, get assurance that there is a solid plan for getting input from all the key people, especially and including at the school level, as to which curriculum or curriculums will best meet the needs of the individual schools. I'd like to say let's ensure we are using what we already have whenever appropriate and have a solid implementation plan in place for these curriculums so they help the students in schools that obviously we all want to protect. So those are my thoughts.
Yes, ma'am.
I would like to say thank you.
because it's nice to have someone with expertise in that area that, you know, some of the board members do not have. And I would like to thank you for your research. And I hear all the time from teachers that, Nancy, we have all kinds of things in our closets. We have things that haven't even been opened up in our closet. And if it's okay, that if there's not any real push, you know, sometimes things get approved, this program gets approved and everybody just kind of goes along in the mood of expediency. And so if we don't have to, and we can do as Mrs. Thrower suggested, I would like to make a motion that we table this for right now. I know we have to table this for another time. I know we have to give a
You don't have to,
date
but
certain.
it's recommended that you do it for a date certain so that the board will take it up. If you just table it, it has to be removed from the table, and nobody remembers to do it, so it just sits there forever.
Right, because this is critical stuff, and we just want to make sure we allow our wonderful staff to have the time. It was such a crunch after this tragedy, and I think everyone did what they could, and now it's time to refine it.
And if we do have materials here, then I would like to definitely see what we already got.
Ms. McCall?
So was it Mr. Lopez and his team that selected this, or where did this actually come from?
So it was a team effort between Mr. Lopez and his department and also my department, specifically Amanda Steckman, who's our school counseling program specialist. Her and Mr. Lopez and Mrs. Yvette Del Noto really worked hand in hand on all the details. So, Mr. Rower, to your point, I certainly understand the concern. I did reach out to both Mr. Lopez and Amanda to discuss where the kit's at. You know, did we take inventory prior to looking at this? And in regards to the other curriculums that you'd mentioned, those are not on our plan that we had submitted and approved to the state as using those. I don't know down to the detail of why those certain curriculums weren't chosen over the ones that, you know, ended up being chosen. Second Steps 1 was one of the ones that was chosen, and from my knowledge, we have a handful of kits in our office, in the school counseling office, in our professional library that we do check out for use. But there were maybe a handful, 5 or 6 kits for each grade level. What this plan proposes is for one kit, a school-wide kit, K-5, and 6-8, one at every elementary and one at every middle school. So that would obviously be the cost. I don't know the details on the actual breakdown or the invoice of how much each one costs in front of me, but I do know that because of the volume that we purchased, we did get a pretty significant discount on it. But again, I can't speak to the detail of the vetting of each and every item. I don't know why these were chosen over others. But I do know that it was a team effort between the two, but to your point, you're exactly right. This happened very quickly, maybe 3 months to put an entire plan together. And I can say to what you had mentioned, I got to give credit to Mr. Lopez and to Ms. Steckman because they went to 2 or 3 state level meetings, and we were the district they wanted to copy the plan off of. It was that well done. Now, that doesn't mean that every part is perfect. I'll admit that. But again, to your point, at that time, we were having a shift in other, personnel of the district. And so of the 4 student service areas, our department, psych services, ESC, and alternative programs, 2 of those directors were changing. And so we had input initially from those 2 individuals, but again, that change happened. And so we had to move forward with our plan to meet the state deadline, which I believe was end of July.
So can I ask a question? If we hold off on this, does that hold the money up from the mental health grant?
It does
we
not,
make an
to my
amendment?
knowledge, and again, I'm just speaking off what I know.
Did you check on that?
Yes, with Teresa Welston Ellis.
And,
That was a concern for me.
okay.
So to my knowledge, the money has already been allocated to our district.
Okay.
And that is under Mr. Lopez's department's authority, which is why a lot of the purchases come under his department on the agenda, because the money is under his department. It could certainly be pushed back. Our only concern would be the training piece, and the time that everything would take to go through board approval, then to place the order to get the kits in. I'm not sure how long that would take, and then we have to train staff, which is a critical component, because especially on a purchase this large, we want to make sure that we roll out training. Tentatively, in our plan, the training we have set is for, I want to say, late January. So depending on when this would be pushed back, we'd have to push that back, and then what's our effectiveness on using
Is it true that the staff has already been trained on the Sanford Harmony, but the kids
Yes.
haven't arrived yet?
They are arriving as we speak, the last couple of
Right.
weeks. Yes.
Right.
Yes, they were all trained with school social workers as well as school psychologists and school counselors. Don't quote me, but several weeks back, maybe a couple of months back. So they were
September, I
trained.
believe it was.
Yes. And so those kits are starting, they were in backlog, but they are starting to arrive. And if that were to happen to this, that'd be my only fear, that by the time we would get them and then train, we'd be sometime February, late February, March. And then our effectiveness. So in reference to the funds that we received from the state, again, this is really the first time our department, and I believe Juan's department as well, has been involved with funding like this from the state. I don't know, certainly I would say at the end of the year, if that money isn't spent on legitimate purposes to support the plan, then that's an issue. And so,
It will roll over, according to Ms. Boston Ellis, which was a huge relief to me.
Absolutely.
Yes, it's carried forward.
Ms. Stacy, you had a question?
Okay, I'd like to make a suggestion. If we have a school board member that has this kind of knowledge about this is what she has done with special needs children and ESE, and she's just got this kind of background. If she's uncomfortable, would you work with, work through it with them?
It would be my honor.
And if she would, then I would be comfortable with this we table it for right now, and she comes back when she's comfortable, that she has worked through this, and I would agree with that when we're, if it's not gonna cause a big hardship to double check, we've got a little bit of time before the full Christmas break. And if a board member feels as strongly about this and the money that we're spending, then I feel that if it's not on a deadline type thing, that give us a couple of weeks maybe.
Well, here's my thought. We've heard your motion to table it. I believe Ms. Stacy seconded it. Attorney Gibbs said that we need a date. How about if we table this into the first work session in February 2019? I don't have the dates in front of me to know, or a school board meeting, I mean,
Sooner
which,
the better.
Sooner the better.
We don't want to hold them.
February, or do you want to before?
well, my thoughts for February are, November, we're at the end, December, we're on vacation, January, so I was thinking if it was the first, do we need a work session, or do we just want it to come before us to vote?
I'm comfortable with Mrs. Thrower going through this and helping, because I think that will just speed things up nicely to just,
I'm comfortable with that.
Okay, so how about we table it to the first school board meeting in February? And then that way, there's
do
no,
we need to wait that long?
and at that time, would it be coming back on the agenda for approval? So discussion would need to take place.
Right, and it may or may not be the second steps at that point. I understand from speaking with Mrs. Steckman that the zones of regulation is on the table for purchase for our Tier 3 kids. And that'll give the schools a chance to give input. It'll give Dr. Alves a chance as the new ESC director to provide her input, and then to also look and see what all we have.
Okay, sure.
Do we need,
Okay.
do we need to wait that long?
Ms. Thrower, can I ask a question? The textbooks that you have, are they for elementary and middle school? Are they kind of across the board?
Zones of regulation can be used for elementary, middle, and high school. Second steps is K through 8, correct? Yes. So that was my other concern. We want to make sure that we have something in place for high school as well, because if they're not making it then they become the dangerous ones.
And there are other things in the plan that address those needs.
Right. Zones of regulation is a good one for that.
And that is one, yes, ma'am. So we can certainly table it. My only concern would be,
Very comfortable with that.
Is it okay if we wait until February, or does it have to be done sooner for training, or?
well, again, I think it comes back to if we end up deciding to stick with second steps, then I think timing would be a concern, because if the board meeting is in early February, by the time we get in order, that could be 4 to 6 weeks. And now we're at spring break, and then by the time we train, we won't be able to use it this year.
So we don't do something in January?
Now, I will say, from what I know, this purchase is a one-time purchase. We're purchasing the kit. So even if we weren't to purchase it until May, we now own them. We would have them available for next year.
And these funds would come out of that mental health grant, is that correct?
Correct, these are not district funds. Yes, ma'am.
Correct, so it comes out of that grant.
Second school board meeting.
Okay. Is there any way we can move it up to January? I mean, I hate
School
to
board meeting in January.
Second school board
Because
meeting.
then everybody will be back, whatever we haven't done before Christmas break can be finalized and.
And then we'll just be
Work
real
with you.
comfortable. It may come back to where it's that, but then
It's
we'll
a lot
feel
of
real
it.
comfortable. We'll have a little better
It is Ms. Thrower's
understanding.
expertise, so I,
Okay, so what we are going to do, we're going to move forward. We are going to table this item until January 22nd.
Need a motion
Okay,
for a specific date, so.
okay.
First things first.
May I have a motion?
Motion that we will table this until the second school board meeting in January.
January 22nd.
And I second that.
Okay. Let me second it.
Thank you.
Thank you.
You need a vote?
Now we need to vote.
There's-
You need a vote? Yeah.
It hasn't shown up on mine. No.
It said I had an error.
Mine
So
came up.
it's an error, too.
Mine came up for a second. I don't think I touched
All of those, just we'll do an oral vote.
okay.
Okay.
Aye.
Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. And those that oppose, like sign. All right, let's move forward.
Very good.
May I have a motion to approve the following cash or tangible donations that have a total value of $123,228.17. $5,000 to Bellevue Elementary School from Public Education Foundation of Marion County Grants for Great Ideas. $4,994.75 to Dr. N.H. Jones Elementary School from Public Education Foundation of Marion County Grants for Great Ideas. $1,500 to Forest High School from Public Education Foundation of Marion County Grants for Great Ideas. $1,645 to Forest High School from Public Education Foundation of Marion County Grants for Great Ideas. $5,000 to Fort King Middle School from Public Education Foundation of Marion County Grants for Great Ideas. $4,998.83 to Fort King Middle School from Public Education Foundation of Marion County Grants for Great Ideas. $3,307 to Fort King Middle School from Public Education Foundation of Marion County Grants for Great Ideas. $12,000 to Fort King Middle School from Marion County Hospital District. $2,500 to Hammett Bowen Elementary School from their business partner, Church at the Springs, via Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $2,660 to Horizon Academy at Marion Oaks from Public Education Foundation of Marion County Grants for Great Ideas. $1,500 to Howard Middle School from Izu E. Nizwakbi, MDPA. $6,485.49 to Madison Street Academy from Madison Street Academy PTA. $5,275.25 to Maplewood Elementary School from Maplewood PTO. $5,000 to Marion Technical Institute from Public Education Foundation of Marion County Grants from Great Ideas. $4,529.64 to North Marion High School from Public Education Foundation of Marion County Grants for Great Ideas. $2,733.31 to Oak Crest Elementary School from Public Education Foundation of Marion County Grants for Great Ideas. $3,423.77 to Oak Crest Elementary School from Public Education Foundation of Marion County Grants for Great Ideas. $8,000 to Osceola Middle School from Munroe Regional Health Systems, Inc. $4,352.08 to Osceola Middle School from Public Education Foundation of Marion County Grants for Great Ideas. $1,000 to Reddick Collier Elementary School from IDEX Foundation. $2,112 to Romeo Elementary School from Public Education Foundation of Marion County Grants for Great Ideas. $2,500 to Shady Hill Elementary School from their business partner, Signature Brands, via Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $2,291.65 to Spar Elementary School from Public Education Foundation of Marion County Grants for Great Ideas. $2,500 to Vanguard High School from their business partner, the Gaekwad Family via Public Education Foundation of Marion County. $5,000 to Vanguard High School from Public Education Foundation of Marion County grants for great ideas. $5,000 to Vanguard High School from Public Education Foundation of Marion County grants and ideas. $4,850.13 to Westport High School from Public Education Foundation of Marion County grants for great ideas. $2,244.35 to Westport High School from Public Education Foundation of Marion County grants for great ideas. $10,000 to Westport High School from John C. Oxley Living Trust. $824.92 to Westport High School from Public Education Foundation of Marion County grants and ideas. May I have a motion and a second?
So moved.
Second.
So moved by Ms. McCall, second by Mr. Cummings. All those in favor signify by voting aye, and those that oppose, like sign. And the motion passed 5-0. Ms. McCall, would you like to give thanks?
Certainly. I want to thank, and Dr. Noble Kobe is how you say the doctor's name for Howard.
Okay, thank
I
you.
want to thank all of our businesses that support our schools through their funds. I specifically want to thank tonight the Public Education Foundation and the consortium of Florida Education Foundations for all the funds for the Grants for Great Ideas, because without those wonderful creative ideas would not happen in our classrooms. So that is a tremendous amount of funds going into Grants for Great Ideas. And so I thank the Public Education Foundation and the consortium for that. So thank you.
Thank you. The next administrative briefing and work session is scheduled for Tuesday, December 6, 2018 at 9 a.m. The purpose of the work session is to discuss construction projects update, model policy, MTI discussion, purchase of new buses, selling district property, Reddick Collier Water, MTSS intervention and enrichment updates, and security force update. An administrative briefing and special work session is scheduled for Tuesday, December 18, 2018 at 9 a.m. The purpose of the work session is to discuss the process of an appointed superintendent. Okay. The chair recognizes the board's attorney, Paul Gibbs.
Good evening, board members. I'm notifying you that advice is needed regarding the pending negotiations between the Marion Education Association, Marion Essential Support Personnel, and the International Union of Painters and Allied Trades Local 1010 City and the School Board of Marion County, Florida, pursuant to 286.011 sub 8 Florida statutes known as the Government in the Sunshine Act. I am requesting an executive session with the board for purpose of discussing negotiations and strategy related to these matters. I will ask the board secretary to cause reasonable public notice of the time and date of this session and the names of the persons attending to be published. It is suggested that this session be held following the December 6, 2018 school board work session scheduled for 9 a.m. As required by the statute, only the following individuals will be present: Kelly King, Board Chair; Eric Cummings, Vice Chair; Nancy Thrower, School Board Member; Elizabeth McCall, School Board Member; Nancy Stacy, School Board Member; Dr. Heidi Mayer, School Superintendent; Dr. Jonathan Grantham, Deputy Superintendent; Paul Gibbs, School Board Attorney; and the district's collective bargaining unit teams: Brent Carson, J.C. Oliver, Philip Leppert, Teresa Boston Ellis. I will ask a court reporter to record the session, also as required by statute. Her notes will be fully transcribed and filed with the clerk of the school board. Upon conclusion of the negotiations, the transcripts will be made public record.
I recommend the board hold a shade meeting session pursuant to Section 286.0118 Florida statutes to discuss pending negotiations. Thank you.
If there are no objections, I will instruct our attorney to schedule the shade meeting session to be held following the December 6, 2018 school board work session, meeting starting at approximately 9 a.m. Do we have a consensus?
Ms. King, my only concern is that is also the same day as the Marion County delegation out at the college.
Oh.
So as long as we are through, you know, and sometimes our work sessions go over, and that is scheduled to start at 1 o'clock. That's my only concern.
Okay.
We've done it before, though, where we've had to run over.
It's the board's prerogative as to when you want to schedule it. So.
Well, you know what we could do is if we look like we can't fit it all, we can reschedule. I'm sure there might be some things that we might could move around or flex with, maybe.
Okay, that's fine.
Is that
I
okay?
just think that's important that you be.
That is important. Thank you for,
Knowing in advance that we have a timeline, that we can just tend to business and get it done.
Well, we.
yeah,
try
we.
to do that.
I know.
Challenge accepted.
Okay, so do we have a consensus then?
We do.
Okay, thank you. Okay, there being no further business?
comments.
Oh, board comments. I'm a little rusty at this. Okay, we'll begin with board comments, and Ms. McCall, we'll start with you.
Certainly, I want to welcome Ms. Thrower and Reverend Cummings to the board. I hope that you will, as Ms. Thrower has already done, I hope you will make wise decisions. I hope that you will read your board packets and any questions you have prior to the board meetings, that you will talk to the people that can answer those questions for you. And congratulations and welcome aboard.
Thank you.
Ms. Stacy.
Well, I'm just excited about moving forward and all the things we've got ahead and doing what's best for the students of Marion County. And I just thank everyone for, right now, being supportive of us as we move forward.
Ms. Thrower.
Maybe someone would have a timer to set for 5 minutes, because I don't want to take any more time than we would give to the citizens, but I do have a couple of comments, just because, again, I'm new, and I've been looking forward to this for a long time. So seriously, let me know if I have 1 minute to go, or I don't want to run over.
Oh, you're not timed.
You're not timed.
You're not
I know,
public,
I
so
know,
you.
but at the same time, I feel like it's important to only use as much time as we give to our citizens. And I'll just say that the campaign trail, as my grandpa John would say, is definitely a character-building experience. And I would say that it's not for the faint of heart, but it was mostly really fun. And almost a year and a half ago, I had a dream to bring our community together for our public schools and for each other. We have a golden opportunity starting right now to blaze a new trail for public education. With a school board we can all be proud of, taking the lead in respectful collaboration along with our superintendent. And I'm so ready to serve. Marion County is on the cusp of explosive growth and incredible prosperity, and it's up to all of us to continue taking an active interest and make your voice heard, just as you have all along my campaign trail. Marion County had a record voter turnout this time around, brought to you by all of you, and I'm incredibly humbled by your confidence in my ability to serve. And now my task is to prove by my actions that you made the right choice. And I take your trust very seriously. And in the coming days, you'll begin to see me advocate for the actions we must take to improve our public schools. Education does begin at home. We must expect all families to do their personal bests to raise their kids to be the functional, contributing Americans we all want them to be. And we must make it clear by going into the whole community that not only do we have high expectations, but that we are there to listen, support, and help overcome any situations that are getting in the way of our children succeeding. Marion County is the size of Rhode Island. Our bus fleet must be reliable, and our bus folks must be supported, as they are one of our first connections between home and school. At school, we've got to solve the critical shortage of teachers and support personnel. And we must keep the same principals long enough for them to build a quality team and program at their schools. Finally, no more one-size-fits-all education. We welcome every student that walks through our public education doors, and it only makes sense that we offer multiple paths to success rather than endless, high-stakes, expensive testing that inhibits access to meaningful, technical, and vocational training. All students, including our students with the most significant special needs, deserve their one opportunity to become as independent as possible, to take their place in society, to be contributors. And that one opportunity is a high-quality public education. So please continue to roar with me. Our work is just beginning, me and us. My faith is deep, my will is strong, and my gratitude to my family and to all of you who put me in this position to make a positive difference is only outweighed by my commitment to excellence. God bless all of you, and thank you.
Well, such eloquent words from Ms. Thrower, and we thank her for that. And I personally want to say thank you guys for allowing us the opportunity to serve the students of Marion County, to serve the citizens of Marion County. It's vitally important that we make sure that we're doing the best and making the best decisions for all of the students of Marion County. I believe that we should be preparing all students for a changing world. As we look about every day, we see that this world is constantly changing. And if we don't meet the needs of those changes, then our kids are going to fall behind. I remember a famous president that once said that no child should be left behind. I still believe that no child should be left behind. So it's our obligation and our duty to make sure that we don't leave anybody behind, and that we're going to be pulling up every kid, every parent, every community, every school, and making sure that Marion County schools rise to be the best schools in the state of Florida. So I look forward to the challenge. I look forward to working with all the board members here, the superintendent, her administration. I look forward to making a difference in Marion County, and I believe that this team can do it. So again, thank you, and I pray everyone have a very blessed Thanksgiving holiday.
Mr. Gibbs?
I just want to make a note. Do you have a binder beside you there? That is for the meeting on the 18th. It's just samples and things from around the state that my office put together, along with some FSBA material that you can look at and get ready for that meeting.
Ms. Martinez?
Good, thank you. Everyone have a great Thanksgiving. Be safe. See you back on Monday.
Yes, ma'am, you too.
Dr. Mayer?
Yes. Thank you. Officer Hunt, thanks for being here tonight, and happy Thanksgiving to you and your family. I understand you're working Thanksgiving evening, so best wishes for that, and God bless you and keep you and all of your folks safe as you keep us safe over the holidays. I know you take time away from your family for us, and it's appreciated on many levels, so thank you, and best wishes to your wife, too, and the babies. Let them bang those pots and pans. It's good stuff. Okay. Next week is Mrs. Stacy's birthday. Happy birthday, Mrs. Stacy. There's your Betty cake.
I get on Medicare.
Oh, gosh.
Happy birthday.
Okay. Well, whatever it is, happy birthday. Happy birthday, too. I hope it's great, and I hope you have time with the grands and whatever makes you happy. So happy birthday to you. Ms. Thrower and Reverend Cummings, again, welcome. And as requested, your community read shirts. Remember that we wear these on the first of the month. And this, for December, the first actually is on a weekend, so please wear it on December 3rd. So Ms. Thrower, there's yours. Reverend Cummings, here's yours.
Thank you.
Okay, and remember, marionschools.net, and look for the book. Okay. With that as well, remember to RSVP for the parade. We've been asked again to ride along on the float for the parade. So we've reserved the spot with the Paglias and Environmental Express, and we thank them for that opportunity. So if you'll let me know, tomorrow's holiday, so Monday we'll follow up if we haven't heard from you. And tomorrow is kind of a holiday. It's the day before Thanksgiving. So reminder, we all know that our schools are closed this week. And we have a lot of district folks who are on vacation. It's a great time to take vacation when the schools are closed because things are a little quieter. So know that if you're trying to reach somebody, we'll have out of office messages on. But of course, if it's an emergency, you have my cell phone number. Please call and we'll get right back to you. Otherwise, we look forward to returning routine emails and calls on Monday. And also, Mr. I want to thank you for reaching out to our folks when you had that question, and we appreciate that. And the expeditious response that you received is one that we guarantee. And again, thank you. And also, you had circled around back to my office to speak with me. So thank you for that, and then thank you for the follow-up phone call. So we look forward to that. And with that, I look forward to working with the board and the community that elected me as we move forward this school year. And I cannot wait to say that this team will be the first team since 2006 to have an A-rated school district, and I'm looking forward to that this spring. Yes. So it's going to be a great adventure. And this morning, you know how God works mysteriously. So Kevin and I were finishing up on WOCA, and my phone is ringing, and I put it on mute, and then I get a voicemail from a colleague who said that he was driving and that God spoke to him and asked him to ask me to read Psalm 100. And with that, I pulled over, and I did, and then I read it again, and I was like, oh my goodness, yes. So in Psalm 100, enter his gates with thanksgiving and into his courts with praise. Be thankful to him, for the Lord is good and his mercy is everlasting. And with that, I wish you all a very, very blessed Thanksgiving, and be safe. We'll see you Monday.
Thank you, you too. Thank you very much. I want to begin with recognizing Ms. McCall as being an exemplary chairwoman this past year. You run a very effective board and a great board, and I learned many things from you, and I thank you. And I also want to tell our new board members that this is exciting, just hearing your new ideas and your experiences and your enthusiasm is very nice and refreshing, and I look forward to moving forward to Marion County being that A district.
Yes.
And I would like to tell everyone that is here this evening, I would like to tell all our students and our staff members and our employees to have a happy and blessed Thanksgiving. Please take this time to rest and rejuvenate and enjoy your family and your friends and do whatever it is that you love to do. And we look forward to you guys coming back on Monday. And thank you. And with there being no further business, may I have a motion to adjourn?
So move.
Second.
Okay, moved by Mr. Cummings and seconded by Ms. Thrower. Mine's still not coming. Oh, it did. Okay, all those in favor signify by saying aye or voting aye. And the motion passed 5-0. The meeting is adjourned at 6:18 p.m.